Yeah, it's a massive concern. Another thing from yesterday is we saw Cameron Norman shift into centre back for a while as well. And I think Norman's been fantastic since coming, but I was not impressed when he slotted into centre back. I did not think he handled it particularly well at all. Now I'm sure he can do better than that, but it just shows that the options we're now left with are, it's getting slimmer and slimmer. So it's a massive concern. The Davis one was preempted, so I'm okay. I understand we were trying to manage the squad there, but yeah, Bradshaw coming off. I don't know what is there something they're getting wrong in training. It's bizarre. I've never known anything like it, and it's sod's law that it's happened in a season where we've gone with this smaller squad, greater ability sort of strategy. We've tried to bring in a bit more quality, but definitely slim down those numbers. And Nigel said it. I'm sure at the end of his interview, he said, it looks like we're going to just have to crack on with the group we've got, which says to me we're not bringing anyone in. I was hoping maybe there'd be a loanee or two to slot in and build up the numbers a bit. We'll have to wait and see. But by the sound of Nigel, I don't think that's the case. So it's a massive concern considering we already had injury woes with Hawkes and Taylor out. Norris the other day, that's a massive problem. We're going to have to start turning to the whole square pegs round holes and have Connor Jennings up top. We're going to have to put Norman at centre back. Lots of concerns there. I do think this strategy has been right. The recruitment strategy has been right to focus on greater quality, even if it means a smaller squad. I just think we're having atrocious luck at the moment. But it doesn't fill you with too much confidence, does it?
Well, you kind of accept that if you're a League Two club, at some point you're going to be hit by some kind of injury crisis, and it's going to mean a few players having to play in positions that you'd rather they weren't in. Who can forget the National League playoff final in 2017 when Tranmere ended up with Andy Mangan playing as a winger and all manner of other players out of position because they had so many players out injured. So you expect it to happen at some point. But you definitely don't expect it to happen within the opening 2 or 3 weeks of the campaign. And that's the situation Tranmere find themselves in now. And it does leave them scrambling around for players a little bit for the weekend. But the positive is we did see Jordan Turnbull get through 60 minutes, Tom, and his return is very, very welcome.
Yeah, and he looked solid. I think he played well. There was a couple of times they just about got behind him, but he was able to. He's not the fastest, but he was able to cover the ground well enough still. So I thought he played well. He's a good player, Turnbull, if you get the right Jordan Turnbull. So to get 66 minutes under his belt last night was definitely a step in the right direction. But yeah, there's still far too many injuries at the moment that we need to deal with. So yeah, having him in is a positive. But yeah, you're looking elsewhere on the pitch and you're really starting to worry because it's not as if it goes back to the point that you've made many times before, Matt, where when you don't have that stream of youth players coming through your academy, even just to populate your bench, that's how Ian Sharps eventually got a chance. That's how Ryan Taylor first got a chance because we needed them on the bench. It's a shame we don't have that sort of setup now where we can blood any of the younger lads for games like last night. Last night, the kind of game where, you know what, we've already got injury problems. We could have fielded a massively weakened side if we had a youth team to turn on. As it was, we actually went with what was remaining of our first team group. It served as a good purpose for getting minutes under Turnbull's belt. But yeah, it did come at a cost of Zach Bradshaw getting injured. And yeah, I don't know what we do. Like I say, I'm still holding out hope that we can turn to some sort of loanee. Can we get a loanee, a short-term loanee even? Just to build up the numbers. What I don't want to see is a batch of Dan Pike, Joe Starbuck, Jean Bellowan signings. I don't want to see those signings because you just end up recycling and regurgitating the same strategy we've had in recent years. But if we can get a couple of young loanees who may or may not be good enough just to get us through this awkward period, and hopefully get our first teamers back soon enough. But yeah, it's a bit of a no-win situation at the moment. If you bring a loanee in, it's a youngster you don't know much about, and I appreciate that. That's in itself it's not a foolproof strategy, but we'll have to think of something. But yes, Turnbull coming back in is a good thing, and he's a good player if he's in the mood. He and Tom Davis are a good starting centre back pairing. Granted, they didn't start last season particularly well, but none of the teams started last season well. But if you get them in form and fully fit, that's a good centre-half pairing to sort of build up from. So, yeah, hopefully Turnbull, whether he'd be good enough for Walsall, I don't know. He only got an hour under his belt, didn't he? But it can only be a positive thing that he seemed to manage it without any injuries.